Again, aka Fresh Serena, aka the Sports Guru, aka Man Johannes back at it again. And wow, it's been a long hiatus, but something crazy happened yesterday that brought me out of it. The U.S. Open Women's Final 2018. Serena Williams versus Naomi Osaka. Serena seeded at 17th this tournament. Osaka seeded at 20th and also only 20 years old. Before I get into it though, let me let you know, this hiatus is only temporary. So I started a new job, right? Now I'm getting the swing of things. We're gonna slowly but surely start producing this content, alright? We're gonna come out soon, but have to do this video real quick. Right, so Serena versus Naomi Osaka. Here we go. Osaka playing extremely well this tournament after struggled so far in this season, to be honest. And Serena, of course, I think this may be her first full season back since pregnancy. Hasn't worked her ranking back up to number 1 yet, of course, that's why she's seeded 17th. But they're both in the final now, right? Serena also being Naomi's idol. She's looked up to since a young age. She's also the GOAT, so this makes sense why she is. But Osaka, playing so well in the first set, absolute domination, right? Wins it 6-2, easy, don't need to say much about that. Second set starts off, Serena starts to figure it out, wins the first game nice and easy on her serve. Second game now, so Serena's trying to build some momentum. 30-15, I believe, is the score, and they're getting into a rally. Naomi hits a couple short balls. Serena probably could have approached net, never does, and loses that rally, makes it 40-15. And at that point, her coach, Patrick Matroglu, makes, in between, right after that point, makes this motion right here, which we don't see on camera at that point, but we can see a view later. If you go on YouTube somewhere, you can see the actual motion that the coach makes, and basically saying, approach the net, you know. Naomi gave you some chances, opportunities to get to the net and then finish her off. Didn't do it. But the ref sees that the coach did that. Not 100% sure if he saw Serena looking at the coach when he did that, because we'll see that Serena says that she didn't see and didn't receive any coaching. So from Serena's perspective, didn't see any coaching. So, but he says code violation, coaching, right? And Serena's confused because she says she didn't receive any coaching. So she's talking to the ref saying, you know, I've never received coaching in my life. If he gives me a thumbs up, he's just telling me, come on, stuff like that. And she said, I'd rather lose than cheat to win. Basically, is what she says, and just tells her that straight up. Of course, now it's 40-15. Osaka finishes the point off, 1-1, and Serena gets back to it. She's doing her thing, goes up 3-1, getting a break. But she's talking to the ref during the breaks, right? She's telling the ref, you know, why would you disrespect my character? I've never cheated. All these sorts of things, right? So we're getting into so it's 3-1, right? Serena is serving. Here we go, right? Gonna go up 4-1 to consolidate the break. So she's broken Osaka. Osaka, miraculously, breaks back, right? Makes it 3-2, and during this interchange is where it gets crazy. Serena's going, this is where it gets crazy, because at that point, the point that Osaka broke back, after Serena's been building all her momentum up, right? About to go up 4-1, steamroll to the set. Osaka wins that game, makes it 3-2 again, back on her serve. Serena smashes the racket onto the floor. Instant penalty, right? There's no instant warning, code violation. There's no question about this. Nothing subjective about this call for the ref. But in the interchanges that Serena had with the ref before, she had thought that they come to an understanding that the warning, that she didn't receive any coaching, right? But the ref made the call, and he had to stick with it. So that accumulates to be her second penalty now, or second warning, so it's a point penalty, right? So now Serena's confused because they're about to start the 3-2 game. It's already 3-2, but the scoreboard says 15-love for Osaka. Osaka serving. And she's confused. She talks to the ref, and she's trying to explain to the ref. She's confused, right? She thought that was only her first warning. Yeah, right. This is my first warning. It's smashed the racket. But the ref tells her, no, remember the code violation earlier for coaching. But then she re-explains to the ref And she starts to get, really mad at this point. She's already made her case, but she's saying it again now. I never received coaching. I raised my daughter the right way. All sorts of things. Basically, just trying to make it clear that she's never received coaching, and then storms off back to her place to receive in the advantage court now because she got the 15 luck point, or Osaka already got a 15 luck point. But now she's steaming. Anyway, Osaka able to finish off the point, makes it 3-all, and then in the next game, on Serena's serve, breaks again. Wow! So the set started with Serena on fire, broke Osaka, but now Osaka has broken twice to get back on serve and then to get over Serena, makes it 4-3, and in this interchange, Serena is just going off at the ref, right? She's already had two warnings, 1 point penalty. Now she's going off at the ref saying you owe me an apology, you disrespected my character, all these sorts of things. And then the ref's trying to explain to her, he's trying to talk to her. She says, don't talk to me. And then for a second they're quiet. Ref, just turns away, nods, and it's just quiet. Then she starts to talk again, saying, blah, 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 you owe me an apology. And then as she's about to leave, ref calls time, as she's about to leave to go to receive from Naomi, because she just got broken, of course, she says, and you stole a point from me, you're a thief too. She says, right? Mind you, she's already had 2 warnings. So now, what does the ref do? Code violation, verbal abuse, right? So it's the 3rd violation, which means automatic game penalty. So, Serena's back up to on the court, both players back on the court, Naomi's about to serve, but the ref, is making a motion to say it's Serena's serve, because the game penalty means that the game Osaka was about to serve has already been given to her. So it's a game penalty right there. 5-3 for Osaka. Only a game away now from winning the whole match in her first Grand Slam final. And Serena, again, is confused. She doesn't know what's going on. Why she got a game penalty. The ref brings them over to the net and tries to explain what's going on, and Serena is just flabbergasted, right? She even laughed at one point, looking up. I don't know if she looked at the crowd, looked at her player box, but she doesn't know. She calls over the head referee to come talk to him, and she's getting emotional, saying, "You guys know my character. I never cheat." The ref explains to the head ref. The chair umpire explains to the head referee, what happened, and the head referee can't say anything. He says, the ref made his calls. I have to stick with it. And Serena eventually says, I understand you can't change it, but this happens to me all the time, blah, blah, blah. Men have said much worse things than what I said, which she's talking about when she said, you're a thief too, right? And then you can hear, if you're watching on ESPN, the commentator, I think it might have been, was it Fowler that was commentating that? I'm not sure if it was Fowler, but he asked Chris Everett, is that true that men say worse? As this is going on, ask her, is it true that men say worse things than the one Serena said, which is that you're a thief, right? And she said, yes, it's probably true, but that they do it on the first and second warning, not after they received that already. So they wouldn't, once they get that point penalty, they wouldn't do it anymore, so they don't get the game penalty. But since Serena had thought that she never got the first warning, she was already behind, because she thought that the racket smash was her first warning. Turns out that was her second, and then she's still heated, so she gets the third one after saying he's a thief, and then now she's behind the 8-ball game penalty, and it's just nothing that they can do about it. They can't change it at this point. Goes back out and actually holds her serve at love. Right? Just dominated. Best serving game of the match. And then makes it 5-4. But then she brings out, again, one of the ladies that was with the head referee, trying to explain, I never cheat, you know my character, this happens to me all the time, all that sort of thing. But Osaka stays calm, does what she has to do after the interchange. It was 5-4, holds serve, and wins her first ever final. Serena comes up to the net, they hug each other. As Osaka shakes the ref's hands, but Serena doesn't, just walks away telling him, you owe me an apology type of thing. And earlier she'd also said, you will never ref another game, you'll never ref another match of mine. So wow, so overall, what happened, right? Ref calls the first code violation coaching. Now, what's interesting is that this is something that's not called very often, really. And which the interesting thing also is that Patrick Matraglia, Serena's coach, was interviewed after the match, and he was asked, "Did you coach Serena on the interchange?" And he said, "Yes." He was actually said, "I'm gonna be honest. I was coaching." I'll put the link I'll put the link to the video that shows all of the interchanges and the whole, basically the short summary of the game in the description below, so you can see what happened. But he says, "I'm gonna be honest. I was coaching. I'm not sure if Serena saw it," and that's Serena's perspective. From Serena's perspective, she didn't see any coaching. She said, "I never received coaching." So both can be true, but the problem is the ref saw the coaching, and maybe Serena had looked up at her box right before that happened, so he had already given the warning. So, in everyone's mind, everyone is right at this point, which is the problem. But Serena's behind the 8 ball and then received a second warning. So the coach then says that the other coaches do this all the time. That Sasha, who is Naomi's coach, was doing this the whole match, and he said, "I've seen this chair umpire call finals and matches where Rafa, which is Nadal, has been playing, and Tony, who used to be his coach, Uncle Tony, coaches all the time," is what he was saying. But he's never been called for a coaching violation. So, like I said, this is apparently a rare call. But I mean, technically, the problem is it's a rare call, but technically it is the correct call. So what can you do about that? I'm not sure. Basically, it was just tough from the beginning. Serena probably, if she had known that the first code violation for coaching had stood, she probably would not have snatched her racket to receive the point penalty. But at least at that point, the built up anger wouldn't have resulted in her continuing to talk, saying that you're a thief, which in itself is pretty mild. But since she had continued berating him after the second warning already, led to the third warning, which is the game penalty automatically. So tough situation for Serena, tough for the ref. I mean, what can you do? Really, maybe he could have held, stayed more composed and not given the third warning of code violation, because it was the term that she used itself was pretty mild, that he's a thief, but it was kind of a built-up sort of thing. He's a very esteemed ref, one of the gold members. Only 22 refs, I think, in the world are of his stature. At least by accomplishments. I'm not sure if accomplishments or certification or whatever. And he's been reffing Grand Slams since 2004, I believe. So, he has a reputation to hold up too. He thought he saw coaching clearly, and that's the point. It's a subjective call. So he thought he saw clear coaching, and the coach after the match says in the interview, "I was coaching." So it turns out the ref was right, but it's a call that's not often made. So the coach is mad that he chose to call it finally in this one. Then Serena is mad because she thought that she didn't receive coaching because she didn't see what the coach motioned to her, or was too far away because she was on the opposite side of the court at that point to understand what the motions were, and thought it was just a thumbs up saying "come on," which she explained to the ref as well. So overall, it was misunderstandings left and right. Everyone thinks that they're in the right. But in the end, in fact, it turns out to be sad for Naomi Osaka because she was getting booed, even in the awards ceremony after, which is pretty sad for her, defeating her idol, who is the GOAT, Serena Williams, in her first ever Grand Slam final, or her first ever Grand Slam final victory. I'm not sure if it was her first ever final played. I know she's made some deep runs before, but her first title nonetheless. That's not a great way to receive, the honor of being a champion now, becoming an instant star, as Chrissy Everett said right after the match. So, all in all, incredibly intense, more than just your average Grand Slam final match. But Osaka comes out with the victory. I'm going to post the link in the description below to the video that shows you all of what happens. Basically, it skips over most of the first set. It shows you 6-2 the score, but it shows you what happens in between. So until next time, Big M, AK Man, more content coming soon. Keep it easy.